last week was a very big week, objectively a huge week. We had quite a few announcements. It's first live-action film, which is Snow White and the Evil Queen. And that's me, I'm Snow White, which is so funny.
Controversy in Snow White. The dwarves have been eliminated in the live action.
Yeah.
Now it's Snow White and the 7 magical beings.
Wait, it's 7 and the magical beings?
Yeah,
They won't even say
magical
and the 7 dwarves?
No, because they're not dwarves. For right now, that's the only jobs that are there.
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarves. But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group. You just erase that whole.
That we literally listened to just that, 30-second bit of music like 50 times, and both of us had chills. It was like, oh my God, it's literally a princess. This is literally a fairy tale. This is so crazy. We just could not get enough of it, and I truly could not believe that this was actually happening.
Rachel Zegler faces an onslaught of criticism, and it's allegedly driving her over the edge. The Snow White remake spirals into a box office catastrophe, and Brett Cooper's roasting campaign refuses to let up. The word on everyone's lips is that Rachel can't handle the heat any longer, breaking down in tears under the relentless pressure. This is no gentle slip. This is a thunderous fall from grace.
They are pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
Rachel Zegler, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantada is the only global solution.
Now, I'm guessing that she's not married. I'm guessing that she doesn't have kids. The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie, and I believe it only made less than $1 million.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
The new Disney boss babe, who is Rachel Zegler, the inverse of happy.
And it's allegedly happening right before our eyes. The so-called beloved star of modern musicals and Disney magic is now struggling in a storm of harsh commentary and endless mockery. Almost overnight, her fame has turned into one massive target. Snow White just bombed, according to last week's dismal numbers, and everyone in Tinseltown is pointing fingers.
Who wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. She's not going to be safe with a prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Oh my God. And she came out and she said, I apologize. Like I went too far, but it wasn't sincere.
Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of backlash. I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing.
Fingers at Disney, at the directors, at the marketing, but mostly at Rachel. And here's the bigger shocker. Brett Cooper, known for her brutal takedowns, is twisting the knife with nonstop mockery and dismissive remarks about Rachel's performance. Some fans are calling it borderline harassment. Others applaud Brett for saying what everyone's allegedly thinking.
The movie is doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million, and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime, and let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension. Racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphorical level?
Either way, the resulting meltdown has set social media ablaze. There's no escaping the chaos now, but how did we get here? Where did this downward spiral begin, and why is Rachel now at the center of Hollywood's biggest fiasco? Let's find out in this deep dive, where we pull no punches and offer no apologies, because the fallout from this rumored meltdown is staggering, and the story just keeps getting bigger.
Large dump on half of the country, everyone who voted for Trump.
But you are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now. I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
President Rachel Zegler also posted, F Trump kinds of posts on social media. She also said that she hoped that Trump supporters, quote, never know peace.
And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one.
Let's jump into section 1 and uncover why Rachel Zegler, once everyone's darling, is suddenly the target of such fierce and dismissive commentary. Rachel Zegler skyrocketed to fame by capturing hearts in her breakout role. She had that rare quality: fresh face, spectacular voice, unstoppable drive, and Hollywood instantly fell for her image. Critics praised her talent, fans adored her sweet on-camera persona, and Disney bet big on her to lead the new live-action Snow White. It was supposed to be the crowning achievement of a young career, cementing her place among the top talents of her generation. But everything took a dark turn the moment rumors surfaced about the film's questionable creative direction. Allegedly, behind-the-scenes chaos started bubbling up. Script rewrites, production delays, even rumored feuds among cast and crew. Disney insisted that all was well. That's what huge studios do. They keep the public calm. Still, whispers of dissatisfaction grew, and fans wondered if this remake could really capture the magic of the original. Then came the social media controversies. Rachel's outspoken nature rubbed some people the wrong way. She made bold statements about certain aspects of the beloved classic, drawing both applause from modern audiences and fury from traditional Disney devotees. It was a polarizing stance, fueling endless debates on whether her approach was progressive or insulting to the legacy. Critics began describing her as overly confident, and some corners of the internet claimed she was too self-assured for a new Disney icon. Meanwhile, Brett Cooper, a commentator known for her withering wit, started poking at Rachel's every move. She labeled Rachel's interviews tone-deaf, her social media posts pretentious, and her approach to Snow White's story downright laughable. Day by day, the negativity piled up, chipping away at Rachel's public image. Most fans shrugged off Brett's jabs, believing it was just another internet troll desperate for attention. But the tide turned dramatically once Snow White hit theaters, and the box office numbers started rolling in, or more accurately, barely trickled in. The meltdown was swift. Rachel, who had once radiated confidence, found herself in the eye of the hurricane. Reportedly, she was blindsided by the harsh reality that fans were deeply unhappy. While every star faces critics, the depth of vitriol here was jaw-dropping. Some even began claiming the entire fiasco was her fault. Her interviews, her modern twist on the beloved princess, her so-called arrogance. People demanded she apologize, reevaluate, or just step away altogether. That's when the rumor emerged. Rachel couldn't hold up under the barrage. Allegedly, she broke down in tears, confiding in close friends about how the negativity felt overwhelming. Yet, none of this softened Brett Cooper's roasting. In fact, Brett ramped up the intensity, hurling dismissive jabs daily. While Disney, brass have stayed quiet. Sources claim the tension soared to new levels, with no end in sight. But that's just the beginning of this twisted tale. The meltdown hadn't even reached its peak in this first wave of criticism. Next up, we delve into the rumored chaos behind Snow White's production, the intense backstage chatter, and the additional bombs that keep dropping around Rachel's shaky position. But that wasn't the whole story. Stories about the Snow White remake's production turned from mild gossip to full-blown scandal within days. Insiders whispered about cost overruns, script controversies, and a film that felt totally disconnected from the classic everyone loved. When Disney teased the project, Fans initially believed it would honor the iconic tale. Then people saw glimpses of radical changes. The reimagined dwarfs, the updated storyline, the potential sidelining of certain beloved elements. Social media erupted. Some fans cheered the modernization, while others felt it was a slap in the face to the original. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler was the face of that modernization. She publicly supported the bold new direction, praising the new angles and the updated themes. That stance made her a champion to some progressive fans, and a villain to the die-hard traditionalists. Every statement she made became fuel for heated debates, and that's exactly where Brett Cooper stepped in, piling on scathing remarks about Rachel's preachy attitude. Rumor says Rachel tried to brush off the negativity at first. She may have believed that, in the end, her performance would speak for itself. She had the backing of a major studio, after all, but the environment got more hostile by the day. Anonymous crew members claimed the film was riddled with rewrites and last-minute changes. Scenes were apparently shot multiple times in conflicting styles. Some people blamed Rachel's alleged demands for updating certain fairy tale tropes. They said it threw the production into confusion. Then, the real shockwave hit, the official premiere. Critics panned the film, blasting the narrative, the visual style, and most painfully, the entire concept behind this modern Snow White. The backlash was immediate and deafening, echoing across the internet with hashtags condemning the result. Disney's marketing machine tried to spin it, calling it a misunderstood masterpiece. But with ticket sales dismally low, nothing could hide the fact that the project was flopping on a massive scale. Rachel Zegler suddenly found herself the poster child for the movie's failure. Her name trended on social media for all the wrong reasons. Fans who once adored her turned on her with harsh comments, calling her out of touch. And through it all, Brett Cooper kept blasting her on every platform possible. She denounced Rachel's performance, mocked her interviews, and even made snarky remarks about how an actress with so much talent could end up in a fiasco like this. The meltdown continued intensifying, with rumors swirling about behind-the-scenes tension. Some said Rachel was on the verge of ditching social media entirely, devastated by the avalanche of negativity. Others claimed Disney was furious at her for adding gasoline to the fire with her public statements. The hostility soared with no sign of stopping. Now, as all eyes focused on Rachel's response, the rumor mill exploded. Allegedly, she was in tears, refusing to do more publicity, feeling betrayed by the film's marketing fiasco, the ruthless online environment, and the never-ending barrage of Brett Cooper's verbal takedowns. And what happened next would shock everyone. Brett Cooper refused to let Rachel catch even a moment's break. The relentless online roasting went past normal criticism, dipping into deeply personal attacks. Brett claimed Rachel was too self-righteous, boasting about her modern spin on Snow White without considering audience backlash. In one vicious rant, Brett ridiculed Rachel for acting like she's bigger than Walt Disney's legacy, sending fans on both sides into a frenzy. Rachel's defenders tried to clap back, accusing Brett of bullying and claiming she was unfairly targeting a young actress with more talent than most. But Brett doubled down, labeling Rachel's approach the height of arrogance. She insisted that the box office debacle was proof of Rachel's misguided vision. According to Brett's commentary, if Rachel had simply shown some respect for the original Snow White or her audience, the story might have ended differently. That's the exact moment the rumor of Rachel Zegler breaking down exploded. Allegedly, Rachel heard about Brett's most scathing remarks just before a scheduled promotional event. Instead of appearing confident, she reportedly locked herself in her dressing room, crying uncontrollably. A close source claimed she was shaking, devastated that an influential media figure like Brett Cooper had launched such a personal crusade to tear her down. And tear her down, Brett did. Each day, new segments would pop up featuring Brett's dismissive comments about Rachel's acting, her interviews, and even her personal style. She portrayed Rachel as an ungrateful star who spat on a beloved legacy, and then acted shocked when the public revolted. Every comedic jab Brett fired off drew thousands of likes and comments, fueling a wildfire of negativity that fed into the bigger narrative. Rachel was at fault for Disney's meltdown, no matter what Rachel tried. Silence, occasional clapbacks, ignoring the chatter, the negative wave seemed unstoppable. Fan accounts that once championed her music and film career either went quiet or started criticizing her. It was a free fall. Rachel Zegler was suddenly the prime scapegoat for an entire multi-million-dollar fiasco. The tension between Disney, and its lead actress reportedly soared. Some inside sources claim the studio was furious about Rachel's inability to handle the backlash gracefully. Others insisted Disney left her to fend for herself, feeding her to the wolves of public opinion without any genuine support. Either way, she stood isolated in the eye of the storm. Brett's daily roasts cutting deeper and deeper. Public backlash isn't always rational. Fans get hyped on social media, new controversies spark, and soon there's a swirl of extreme opinions. That's exactly what Rachel Zegler faced. Right after the Snow White fiasco became undeniable, fans who watched the film either blasted it on social media or left savage reviews. Some singled out the storyline, but most turned their ire on Rachel. They deemed her performance flat, her public statements smug, and her stance on the beloved fairy tale misguided. It didn't stop with standard criticism. A wave of watchers attacked her acting chops, claiming she brought zero authenticity to the princess role. Others attacked her outspoken commentary about reimagining the story to fit a modern worldview. With every scornful post, her mentions blew up with hateful remarks. And in the midst of that digital inferno, Brett Cooper's voice thundered like a carnival barker, gleefully repeating every negative comment. As the rumor goes, Rachel internalized it all. She couldn't simply shrug off the hate. Allegedly, each new jab tore at her confidence. The meltdown rumor exploded across fan forums. Rachel Zegler in tears. Rachel's emotional breakdown, she can't take the pressure. People speculated on how a star with so much early promise could end up drowning in backlash. Some devoted fans tried to keep the faith, insisting she needed time and space to regroup. But Brett's relentless roasts made that nearly impossible. Even mainstream outlets started referencing the tension, with headlines like, "Brett Cooper takes aim at Rachel Zegler." Some entertainment programs speculated that Rachel might never recover from such an onslaught. The negativity overshadowed everything else in her career, painting her as the actress who took down Snow White. Then came the conversation about whether Snow White's disastrous box office showing was solely Rachel's doing, while many pointed to questionable marketing or the film's creative direction as the true culprits. A large swath of critics fixated on Rachel's public persona. They said her every statement about the film sounded condescending or aloof. They held her personally accountable for the film's downfall, ignoring the fact that big productions involve countless factors beyond one star's control. But the emotional toll was real and, by all accounts, brutal. With every new wave of critiques, Rachel found it harder to defend herself. She tried once or twice, dropping quick remarks about everyone is entitled to their opinion, but those only seemed to feed the trolls. People accused her of being dismissive, fueling even more vicious commentary. Now we arrive at the heart of the meltdown, the Snow White box office numbers. When the dust settled from opening weekend, the results were dreadful. Ticket sales were a fraction of what Disney executives had projected. Headlines called it one of the biggest disappointments of the year. And that fiasco, ironically, gave Brett Cooper fresh ammunition to attack Rachel Zegler's star power. Internet speculation exploded. Some fans blamed the marketing missteps, accusing Disney of confusing audiences with conflicting messages. Others pointed to an overall sense of fatigue with live-action remakes. But the loudest voices pinned the blame on Rachel. They insisted that her remarks against traditional aspects of the story offended the core fan base. The meltdown was complete. Critics labeled it a financial disaster, while fans on social media erupted with "I told you so" reactions. Rachel Zegler, once the bright new force in Hollywood, now finds herself in the thick of an alleged emotional meltdown. Brett Cooper's unyielding roasts highlight every misstep, amplifying each criticism until it's deafening. The Snow White Remake's box office disaster only intensifies the hostility, giving trolls and critics a perfect storm to use against Rachel. Rather than emerging victorious, she's trapped in a whirlwind of insults, industry whispers, and frustrated fans. Some spectators say that this fiasco will serve as a wake-up call for the star, that she'll learn to navigate the ruthless world of Hollywood with more care and humility. Others are convinced this meltdown is only the beginning, signaling a dangerous downward trajectory. However it pans out, the fallout will linger. Disney will have to rethink its strategies, fans will keep dissecting every rumor, and Rachel's name will forever be tied to a colossal disappointment. In the end, the real question is whether a star so battered by online scorn can regain her footing. Will Rachel Zegler find a way to bounce back from these brutal roasts in the aftermath of a box office flop? Or will this rumored meltdown define her story for years to come? For now, all we can do is watch the drama unfold. But one thing's certain. After a fiasco of this magnitude, Hollywood and Rachel herself may never be the same.